Okay, so in another part of this series, I'm going to be showing you some different shots, and we're going to be looking at the bunker shot here. Now, the bunker itself is, it's actually not one of the most difficult shots that you have on the golf course. I know it's something that a lot of amateur golfers fear, but if you look at the pros, they're very good at this, and it's almost, sometimes they'd rather be in the sand than in the long rough. So I think what's important to know is how you can get the most consistent result out of each bunker, and that is taking the right amount of sand, and that is not just how soon you hit into the sand, it's also how deep you go into it. And a lot of that comes down to how you set up and how you actually try to hit the golf shot. So first of all, to note, I'm going to sort of go on the pretense that everyone knows that you hit the sand and not the ball. I think that's a good place to start. And then the next thing that we're going to look at is actually what we're trying to get the club to do, and then how we're going to set ourselves up to get it to do that with the most ease. So we've got a shot here. We're only sort of 20 yards from the pin. It's kind of a standard to sort of slightly long bunker shot here, so it's one that we can really hit at. But what I'm going to look at is I call it the Kit Kat rule. You want to try and hit 4 fingers behind the golf ball. That's where the club should enter the sand. And then if you think of a nice frothy cappuccino, you're trying to take the foam off the top. You're not trying to hit into the cup, you're trying to take the foam off. So we're looking to hit early, but we're not looking to go deep and take loads of sand. We're looking to take a nice bit off the top. So think of Kit Kats and cappuccinos when you come to play your bunker shots. So to get that set up, I'm going to demonstrate from this line here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just draw a line here, which we all know you're not allowed to do in the bunker, but this is for practice purposes here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that line, that's where I want my club to enter the sand. That's going to be directly in the middle of my stance. So you'll notice then the ball is 4 fingers ahead of that, which is sort of towards my left heel. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to set my shaft up by opening the club face directly at my center line. And by doing that, I'm then going to dig my feet in. I've then created what for me is actually my contact point is in the middle of my feet. So very similar to how we're used to playing the mid-irons, and a lot of our shots are played from the middle of the stance. The next thing is so I've got my sort of entry point controlled here, but I want to maintain that. I don't want to be, a lot of people tend to drive into the bunker shots. I want to stay in this balanced position. There's a rule of thumb, where my balance is at the point of impact is where my club will hit the sand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my left foot out, sort of towards 10 o'clock there. And I'm just going to push my left knee sort of over the laces on that shoe, and I'm going to do the same with my knee on my right side. So I've got this kind of squatted position here. And what that does, it means I can still turn, but so long as I try and keep my knee relatively over my toe there, I'm going to stay in the same balance point, meaning that where my club's going to hit the sand is then going to be much more controlled. A nice little thing to notice as well is that with my knee being slightly more over my laces and my left foot turned out, it just shifts my balance slightly more into my left side, which means that I will always get into the sand, which is key. So the next thing I'm going to move to the side for here is how we're actually going to control the depth of the divot. So the first part controls the entry point, how far behind the ball I'm going to hit. And the second point now is all to do with how steep I want my swing plane to be. So my wedge itself sits like this normally. I've opened the face. I'm also going to lie it down. And you think if I lie it down and I take the swing from there, I'm making a much shallower arc than if I was upright and swinging steeper like this. So all I do is to counteract that is once I've laid the club down like this and I've got myself in position here, I then just move myself and put my spine more upright, and that sets my weight on both towards my heels there. And that means then if I keep my spine in the same angle and my legs in the same weight and I move around that position, I should be able to get the Kit Kat behind the ball, and I should be able to control the depth of the club going into the sand. So I'll take a couple shots now and show you how that works. Give it a go, and then you can apply the same rules that we've spoken about in other tips, where how quickly you're moving the club is going to directly affect how quickly the ball's going, and of course how much angle you're putting on your club is going to affect how the sand sprays the ball up, and that's how you can control the ball speed and the launch angle.